The day my parents transferred our family construction shop to my sister's husband, I didn't scream, argue, or beg. I just stood there, covered in sawdust and sweat, listening to them praise a man who couldn't even read a blueprint without squinting. 16 years of my work gone with one signature. But while they celebrated him as the future of the business, I was already planning mine. They took the shop I'd built with my hands. I built something they never saw coming. If you're interested in this gist, hit the like button, subscribe, and type "interested" in the comments, and I will give you a heart. People love to talk about family legacy like it's this warm, glittery thing passed down with love and pride, but no one warns you that sometimes legacy feels more like a weight, a chain, a responsibility you didn't ask for and can't walk away from. That construction shop wasn't just a business to me. It was practically my childhood home. I grew up around tools the way other kids grew up around toys. My first memories aren't of dolls or cartoons. They're of measuring tape snapping back too fast, the smell of fresh cut lumber, and my dad yelling, "Hold the beam steady," while my tiny arms shook under the weight. I learned to sand wood before I learned to tie my shoes. I could identify screw sizes at 7. By 12, I was drafting simple layouts, and by 16, I was the unofficial manager while my parents bragged to their friends that I had natural skill. The natural skill, it was survival. I didn't get allowance, I got responsibility. I didn't get weekends, I got work boots. And I didn't get praise, I got expectations. Meanwhile, my sister Danielle floated through life like a feather in a breeze, soft, delicate, and always landing where she wanted. She'd visit the shop, stay for 15 minutes, break a nail, and declare she was emotionally exhausted. Yet somehow, my parents always saw her as the precious one. And me? I was the reliable one, the fixer, the builder, the daughter who did the work so Danielle could keep up the illusion of perfection. So the day they called me into the office, I walked in expecting the usual, a talk about long-term plans or another lecture about how I work too hard and should slow down, or maybe a half-hearted thank you delivered like they were allergic to gratitude. But no. My parents stood there dressed like they were attending a business meeting they weren't actually prepared for. Dad in a stiff shirt, mom clutching a folder to her chest like it contained the cure to aging. Danielle's husband, Austin, sat in the middle of the room like he was the CEO of something. Austin, whose biggest accomplishment in life so far was choosing the right filter for his gym selfies. Austin, who once asked me what a 2x4 was. Austin, who held a drill like it might bite him. My stomach tightened, because nothing good ever starts with the sentence my father used, "Sit down, we've made a decision." He said it like an announcement, a proclamation, a royal decree. I didn't sit. What decision? My mother stepped forward, eyes soft in that manipulative way parents use when they want you to accept bad news gently. "Sweetheart, we've decided it's time to pass the shop down." My heart thudded hard, but I didn't react. I waited. I waited for the sentence that should have come next. "And we want you to take over." Instead, my father turned to Austin with an expression I had never seen directed at me. Approval. "We're transferring the construction shop to Austin." He's the next in line. Time slowed, actually slowed. It felt like someone pressed a hand against the world and told it to stop spinning. I blinked once, twice. I stared at them, waiting for the joke, the laughter, the gotcha. Nothing. "You're giving my shop," I said quietly, to him. "It's not your shop," my father snapped. "It's the family shop." "A family shop I've run since I was 16. I shot back. "A shop he doesn't even know how to walk through without tripping over a toolbox." Austin lifted his hands like he was innocent. "Hey, I'm learning." "Learning what?" I asked. "The difference between a hammer and a wrench?" My mother looked offended at my tone. "Don't be rude. This is what's best for everyone." "Everyone?" I repeated. "Or just your favorite daughter and her husband?" Danielle walked in then, acting surprised, even though she absolutely wasn't. "I told them you'd be upset," she said, crossing her arms like she was the one who needed comfort. "But you have to admit, he's got leadership qualities." "He fainted when he saw a splinter," I deadpanned. "It was infected," Austin protested. I ignored him. My father shoved a stack of papers toward me. "This is happening. Don't make it difficult. Don't make it difficult." As if stripping away 16 years of sweat, work, loyalty, and sacrifice was a minor inconvenience. As if this wasn't a betrayal carved down to the bone. As if I was the problem for not smiling through it. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. God knows they expected me to crumble. Instead, something inside me went still. Very still. The kind of stillness that comes right before a storm. "Well," I said softly, "if that's how it is." All three of them leaned forward, waiting for my collapse. My breakdown. My surrender. Then I quit. My mother gasped. My father slammed his hand on the table. Danielle whispered, "You're being dramatic." Austin looked uncomfortable, like he wished he'd stayed home. "You can't quit," my father snapped. "We need you during the transition." "You need me for everything," I said, "but you don't want me for ownership." Silence. Thick, suffocating, guilty silence. "You'll regret this childish reaction," my mother said. "Maybe," I replied, "but not as much as you'll regret underestimating me." I untied my work apron, the same one I'd worn for years, and set it gently on the table. My hands weren't shaking, my voice wasn't breaking. My heart wasn't weak, not anymore. "Good luck with your new leader," I said, glancing at Austin. "You'll need it." Then I walked out of the office, out of the shop, out of the only life I'd ever known, but not empty-handed. I walked out with my skill, my pride, my name, my fire, and something else, something I didn't expect, freedom. And standing in the parking lot, breathing air that didn't taste like sawdust and resentment, one thought hit me with perfect clarity. If they would rather hand away what I built instead of letting me lead it, then I'd build something they couldn't ignore or ever take away again. And the moment I stepped off that property, the world felt completely different. Like someone had finally turned off the noise I'd lived in my whole life. For the first time since I was a kid, I wasn't carrying a drill, a clipboard, a blueprint, or a stack of responsibilities nobody appreciated. I was just carrying myself. And honestly, it felt lighter than I expected. But here's the thing about walking away from a place you've given your whole life to. The silence hits first, then the anger, and then, if you're lucky, the clarity. I didn't cry in the parking lot. I didn't scream in the car. I didn't call Danielle or my parents and unload every thought burning through my chest. I just drove. No music, no GPS, no destination, just road, wind, and a throat full of disbelief. How do you process being replaced by someone who thinks drywall is a type of wall that hasn't been watered yet? How do you make sense of parents who look at their hard-working daughter and still choose the son-in-law who once glued his fingers together trying to assemble a chair from a 3-step manual? How do you accept that your family didn't just overlook you, they didn't even consider you? My phone buzzed nonstop on the seat beside me. Ignored it. I needed distance. Physical, emotional, mental distance. And with every mile, the pressure behind my ribs loosened a little more. Eventually, I found myself parked outside an empty lot I used to pass on my way to work. It wasn't special, just a patch of neglected land, weeds pushing through cracked concrete, faded, Lisa Quick sign hanging crookedly in one corner. But something about it, something in the rawness, the emptiness, the possibility, pulled at me. I sat there staring at it like the universe had planted it in front of me for this exact moment. And that was when the thought, a wild, terrifying, thrilling thought, slid right into my brain. What if I built my own shop? Not my parents' shop. Not Danielle's husband's shop, not the shop I was expected to inherit, but never fully allowed to claim. Fine. The idea was ridiculous, impossible, risky. My practical side practically slapped me across the face. You don't have clients, it hissed. You don't have a crew, you don't have equipment, capital, blueprints, permits, but another voice, one I hadn't heard in years, rose above the doubt. You do have skill, you have reputation, you have experience, you have drive, you have anger, hot enough to fuel 1,000 projects. And maybe that was enough to start. Before the idea could scare me back into caution, I grabbed my phone and opened a blank note. I wrote one sentence, "My shop starts today." Then I typed the 3 things I knew for sure. 1, I'm good at what I do. 2, they underestimated the wrong woman. 3, I won't spend one more minute building someone else's dream. When I looked up again, the empty lot didn't look so empty anymore. It looked like a beginning, a foundation, a challenge. And I'd always been good with challenges. My phone buzzed again. This time, I finally checked. 10 missed calls from Mom, 7 from Dad, 3 from Danielle, 1 from Austin. Blocked immediately. Mom's voicemail. "Sweetheart, please come back. Let's talk this through like a family." Dad's text, "You need to be reasonable." Reasonable? Reasonable would be me sitting down quietly while they handed the place I kept afloat, to a man whose greatest professional skill was posting motivational quotes on Instagram. So, no. I wasn't interested in being reasonable. I wanted to be undeniable. And somehow, the more they tried to pull me back, the more determined I became to move forward. I was still sitting there when my phone buzzed again, this time from an unexpected name, Lucas. Lucas was a former coworker, a quiet, smart, steady guy who used to help me close up the shop on weekends. He'd quit last year after getting tired of my father's temper and Danielle's husband's incompetence. His message was short. "Heard what happened. You okay?" A single sentence, but it hit harder than all the rambling messages from my family. I typed back, "Better than I expected. Do you need help?" He replied a moment later. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Do I? The old me would have said no. The new me, the one who was tired of being the solo workhorse, hesitated, then typed, "Maybe. Can you meet?" His response was immediate. "Name the place." I sent him the location of the empty lot. He arrived 20 minutes later, stepping out of his truck with the same calm, grounded presence that always steadied a room. "So," he said, nodding toward me, then the lot, "what's the plan?" "I'm starting my own shop," I said before I could second guess it. His eyebrows shot up, but not in disbelief, in respect. "Really? Really?" He studied my face for a long moment. Then he smiled. "About damn time." The laugh that escaped me wasn't pretty or graceful. It was raw, honest, necessary. "You don't think I'm crazy?" "Crazy?" he repeated. "No. You're the only person who kept that place functioning. If anyone can do this, it's you." Relief washed through me so fast it almost stung. I wasn't alone. "Not anymore. I'll help," he said. "I'm in. You haven't even heard the details." "I don't need to," he replied. "Just tell me where we start." In that moment, under the late afternoon sun, surrounded by weeds and dust and possibility, something inside me clicked hard into place. I didn't walk away from a shop. I walked toward a future. We spent the next hour pacing the lot, imagining where walls could stand, where equipment would go, where clients would walk in. And with every step, every imagined blueprint, every sketch Lucas made in the dirt with his boot, the fear inside me shrank while the ambition grew. When the sky finally darkened, I looked at the land one last time. "This is going to work," I said quietly. Lucas nodded. "No," he corrected with a small smirk. "This is going to shine." And he was right. Because this wasn't revenge, not anymore. This was reclamation, reinvention, reconstruction, not of a shop, of myself. By the next morning, the empty lot had somehow turned into the only thing my mind could focus on. I barely slept, but not from stress, from adrenaline. The kind that makes your heart thump against your ribs like it's trying to punch its way out. But as excited as I wasn't naive. I knew starting a shop from the ground up meant one thing. I needed money, real money. Not parents gave me the business money, not I married into ownership money. I needed earned money. And ironically, the place I'd given 16 years of my life to was now the last place I could turn to. But the universe has a sense of humor, because just as I sat up with my coffee thinking about budgets and loans and equipment, my phone buzzed again, this time with a message that nearly made me laugh. Dad, we need you at the shop today. That was it. No apology, no acknowledgement, no respect, just a command, like I was still an employee waiting for my next shift assignment. I tossed my head back and actually laughed, loud, bitter, cleansing. 5 minutes later, another message came from Danielle. Please just come, it's falling apart. Austin can't handle it. Dad is screaming at everyone. Mom wants you back, please. For a brief second, a flicker of sympathy tried to squeeze into my chest, but then I remembered the way they looked at me when they handed my shop away to a man who still called concrete cement stuff. I silenced my phone and turned it upside down. Today wasn't about them. It was about me. It was about building something they couldn't interfere with, sabotage, or minimize. It was about taking back control of my life. And the first step was the same thing every new business needs: an actual plan. Lucas met me at the lot again with a clipboard, a measuring wheel, and 2 breakfast burritos. Eat, he said, handing one over. Builders don't plan on empty stomach. I almost smiled. We walked the perimeter again, this time discussing the boring but necessary stuff: permits, zoning laws, estimated costs. He pointed out everything we'd need: electrical setup, plumbing connections, structural reinforcements. The works. It's going to take time, he said honestly. I nodded. I'm not afraid of hard work. No, he agreed, but I need to know you're not doing this out of anger alone. I paused. His eyes were steady, concerned but not patronizing. I'm not, I said softly. I'm doing this because if I don't build my own future, they'll keep handing it to someone else. Lucas nodded slowly, then smiled. Good, because you're too talented to let them shrink you. The words pierced deeper than I wanted them to, not painfully, just truthfully. And I needed that truth like oxygen. But of course, the calm couldn't last. It never does. Around noon, while Lucas and I were reviewing a potential budget sheet he drafted, a white SUV pulled up fast, tires crunching against gravel like they were about to stage a rescue or a kidnapping. I didn't have to see the interior to know who it was. My mother stepped out wearing worry-like perfume, with Danielle trailing behind her like a pale shadow. I closed my eyes for a second, inhaling strength. Lucas glanced at me. Want me to stay? Please, I whispered. My mother walked toward us slowly, as if approaching a frightened animal she didn't want to scare. Funny, considering the last 24 hours told me exactly who the frightened ones were. Sweetheart, she said softly, can we talk? Talking is all you've done, I replied. Listening, not so much. She flinched. Danielle stayed quiet, eyes bouncing between me and the lot like she was trying to understand how any of this came to be. We didn't know you were doing this, my mother said, gesturing at the land. Her tone wasn't proud. It was worried, threatened, even. I know, I said. That's the point, Mom swallowed. The shop is struggling. I know. Your father is overwhelmed. He'll adjust. Austin. I raised a hand. Stop right there. Do not make me the emergency fire extinguisher for the mess you created. Her face tightened as if I had slapped her with the truth she'd spent years avoiding. We've always needed you, she said quietly, and you know that. Yes, I said calmly, but you never valued me. Needing me doesn't mean you respect me. That landed hard. Danielle stepped forward timidly. I told him you'd be upset, she said softly. But I didn't think you'd leave. I turned to her. You didn't think I'd leave because you didn't think I had anywhere else to go, did you? She hesitated, just long enough for the truth to show. This isn't about us trying to hurt you, she said weakly. Then what is it about? I asked. My mother opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Because finally, they were forced to sit in the reality they created. The silence thickened. Lucas stepped discreetly beside me, like a quiet wall of support. And then, like the dramatic twist in every story, my father's truck pulled up. Hard. He slammed the door so aggressively the sound echoed across the lot. His eyes went straight to me, burning, conflicted, and furious. "So this is where you ran off to," he said. "I didn't run," I replied. "I walked away." "You're making a mistake," he boomed. This little fantasy, you're not thinking clearly." Yeah. "For the first time in my life, I am thinking clearly," he scoffed. "You don't have the experience to run your own shop." "I ran yours," I reminded him, flawlessly. "You think one girl and a plot of dirt can compete with us?" my mother gasped. "Honey, no," I said coldly. "I don't think I can compete." I stepped closer, voice calm but steely. "I think I'll surpass you." The color drained from his face. "You're being ungrateful," he said sharply. "We gave you everything." I smiled. Small, sharp, and devastating. "No, you gave me work. I gave you everything." He clenched his jaw, looking at the ground like he was searching for a version of this situation where he still had control. But he didn't. That era was over. Finally, he looked up. "If you walk this path, don't expect to come back." I nodded once. Because I'm not planning to." He froze. My mother covered her mouth. Danielle's eyes watered, and in that suspended moment, the full truth finally settled between us like a dropped hammer. I was no longer theirs to manage, silence, or overshadow. I was out, completely. And as Lucas placed a hand gently on my back, steadying me, I felt something powerful bloom inside my chest. Authority, autonomy, liberation. I looked at my father one last time. "If you want to see what a real shop looks like," I said, "watch me build it." His mouth pressed into a thin line. He didn't reply. He didn't yell. He simply turned and walked back to his truck and drove away without looking back. The day after my father drove off that lot without looking back, something in the air shifted. It wasn't fear or guilt or sadness. It was clarity. The kind that hits you the moment you finally stop begging people to value you. The kind that settles into your bones when you realize your freedom isn't something you need permission for. It's something you claim. And I claimed it hard. By sunrise, Lucas was already at the lot, unloading tools from his truck. "We're not waiting," he said simply, handing me a pair of gloves. "If we're building a shop, we're starting today." So we did. We cleared debris, we pulled weeds, we measured every inch of space twice because Lucas was the kind of man who didn't let mistakes happen twice. And while we worked, I kept my phone face down, fighting the urge to check the inevitable chaos erupting at my parents' shop. But the universe, with its impeccable sense of drama, didn't make me wait long. By noon, my sister texted me an essay. "Dad fired 2 employees. Mom is crying. Austin messed up a major order. Customers are angry. Please talk to them." I read it, sighed, and put my phone back down. Not my circus, not my clowns. Lucas glanced over. "Everything okay?" "Just the usual," I said. "Their ship is sinking, and they're shocked I'm not patching the holes." He smirked, let it sink. "Oh, I'm not putting on a life jacket for them," I replied. But even as I said it, a tiny part of me wondered how far the chaos would go. After lunch, Lucas and I drove to a supply warehouse to look at equipment. The moment we stepped inside, the manager, an older guy named Harold, recognized me instantly. "Hey, you're the girl from Thompson Construction, right? The one who actually knows what she's doing?" I blinked. Yeah, that's me." "Good," he said, clapping his hands. "Because your father's son-in-law was here last week and asked if plywood and drywall were the same thing." I almost had a stroke. Lucas burst out laughing. "Told you," he whispered. I cringed hard. Harold continued. "So, what are you building now? Starting your own?" The question hit with the weight of a spotlight. I swallowed. "Yes," I said. "We're starting a shop. Our own firm." For a moment, Harold just stared at me. Then he grinned. About time. Relief washed over me so intensely I almost lost my footing. Support from strangers felt more genuine than anything I'd gotten from my own blood. Harold walked us through equipment deals, showing us secondhand but still high-quality pieces he was willing to discount if we came back consistently. Lucas nudged me. See? People know your worth. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from getting emotional. We finalized a few deals, loaded some supplies into Lucas's truck, and drove back to the lot, only to find a car parked at the entrance. A familiar car. My stomach tightened. The driver's door opened and Austin stepped out, wearing a crisp button-down like he thought it compensated for his incompetence. Lucas muttered, "Great," the human hazard sign. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. "What do you want?" I didn't sugarcoat it. He wasn't worth the energy. Austin rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. "Your father sent me." "Of course he did," I said. "He never shows up himself, just sends messengers." "He wants to talk," Austin said. "He said the shop needs you, badly." "Not my problem," I replied. Austin shifted nervously. "Look, I know you're mad." "Mad?" I repeated. "No, Austin. Mad is when someone takes the last slice of pizza. This," I gestured at the lot, at the papers, at the equipment, "is betrayal." He blinked like the word was new to him. "I didn't ask them to choose me." "Doesn't matter," I said. "They did."
But I'm trying.
He insisted. "The crew doesn't listen to me. Customers keep asking for you. Your father's yelling at everyone, and..." I held up a hand. "Not my problem. Not my shop, not my responsibility." This time his face failed, not from guilt, but from panic. "If the shop fails," he said quietly, "your family will go down with it." Maybe they should have thought about that before throwing away the person holding everything together, I replied. His silence said everything. Lucas stepped beside me, arms crossed. "You done?" he asked Austin. "Because we've got work to do." Austin looked between us, defeated, then finally walked back to his car. Before he got in, he said, "Your father won't give up." "Good," I said. "Neither will I." Or he drove off. A cloud of tension followed him. Lucas whistled low. "They're falling apart without you." "I know." "How's it feel?" I thought about it. I expected joy, satisfaction, vindication, but instead I felt something heavier. "Honestly, it feels sad." Lucas raised an eyebrow. Yeah, I said quietly. "Because they could have had me. They chose not to." He nodded gently. "And now you get to choose yourself." That sentence hit harder than anything my family ever said. We sauntered back to work, unpacking supplies, marking the ground for structural placement. Every hammer hit felt like reclaiming something they'd stolen. Every measurement felt like rewriting my future. And then, just as we finished marking the foundation, my phone buzzed again, a voicemail. I hit play. My father's voice, rough, frustrated, and trembling with something I'd never heard from him before. Fear. "You're making a mistake. This family built everything we have together. You're tearing it apart. If you walk away from us, you walk away from everything. You won't survive out there alone." I'd let the message end without reacting. Lucas watched my expression carefully. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said slowly. "Because here's the thing." I pocketed my phone and looked at the empty land, the future forming before my eyes. For the first time in my life, I'm not alone. Lucas smirked. "Damn right. And I'm not tearing the family apart," I added. "I'm just refusing to be the glue they keep breaking." He laughed softly. "You know what the best part is?" What? I asked. "When this shop opens, the whole town is going to compare it to theirs. And," I asked, "and yours will win." The wind picked up then, brushing against my skin like a quiet confirmation, and as the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the lot, I felt something settle. Purpose, clarity, fire. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was destiny, rebuilt by my own hands. And just when I thought the day was ending, another car pulled up, my mother's. She got out slowly, eyes red, face drawn, but her hands were holding something that made my whole body freeze. My mother stepped out of the car slowly, like she was afraid that even the air around her might crack. She clutched a brown envelope to her chest, the corners wrinkled as if she had held it too tightly the entire drive. Her eyes were swollen. Whether from crying or rehearsing sadness, I couldn't tell. The moment she saw me, relief washed over her face so fast it almost looked painful. "Honey," she whispered, walking toward me like she expected me to run into her arms. I didn't move. Lucas stepped slightly behind me, not blocking, just ready. Mom stopped, a few feet away, breathing hard. "We need to talk," she said. "We've talked," I replied. "No," she insisted. "You talked. You told us how you felt." We didn't listen. That part was true, painfully true. She lifted the envelope, hands shaking. This belonged to your grandfather. He left it for the one who works the hardest. My heart lurched. Grandpa, the only man in the family who ever treated me like my effort mattered. The one who taught me how to hold a hammer properly. The one who let me help him fix fences, build sheds, repair old equipment. The one who saw me, not Danielle, not the sons-in-law, not some imaginary future son, but me. Mom took a shaky breath. He wrote this before he passed. We just never gave it to you. Never gave it to me. 4 words. A punch, a stab, a confirmation of everything I had always suspected. That my achievements, my sweat, my loyalty were filtered through their favoritism, their selective vision, their belief that Danielle was the chosen one and I was the one who just helped. "Why?" I asked quietly. Mom blinked in confusion. "Why what?" "Why didn't you give it to me?" She looked away, swallowing hard. "We didn't think it mattered." "Didn't think it mattered," I repeated. "He wrote something for me. He left something for me, and you hid it?" She squeezed her eyes shut. "We didn't hide it. We just didn't want to cause chaos." "Danielle, this isn't about Danielle." I cut in sharply. "This is about you deciding what I did and didn't deserve." She opened her mouth, but I raised a hand. "Don't bother. I know what this is." "Honey, please, Mom," I said softly. "Just give me the envelope." She stepped forward and placed it in my hands. It felt heavier than paper. It felt like years of silence, years of being overlooked, years of being expected to accept crumbs while someone else was handed the feast. I opened it slowly. Inside were 3 things. A faded photograph of Grandpa and me building a shed together, his handwriting on the back, the real builder. A key, old bronze, worn smooth by time. And a letter. My throat tightened as I unfolded it. My mother stood there, twisting her hands. Lucas stayed quiet, steady at my shoulder. I read the letter silently, then read it again because my brain struggled to accept the words. Grandpa's letter was simple but devastating. "To whoever keeps this family standing, take what is yours. The land behind the old mill is yours. Build something better than we ever did. Don't let anyone take your skill or your worth away." Beneath it, his signature. My hands shook violently, the kind of tremor that comes from a lifetime of carrying burdens you never questioned. I looked up. The land behind the old mill, that's a full acre. Mom nodded, eyes still down. "It's worth a lot now." "You hid this from me," I whispered. "For how long?" 10 years, she said. 10 years. 10 years they knew Grandpa left something for me. 10 years they decided I didn't need to know. 10 years they let me believe I had nothing of my own, so I'd stay tied to their shop forever. Why? I asked again because I needed to hear it. Because I needed the wound revealed before I could stitch it shut. My mother's voice broke. "Your father thought giving Danielle a little more would help her. She always needed more support. And you thought I needed less," I said. "You thought I could just carry everything and never need anything back?" She covered her face. "It wasn't meant to hurt you, but it did," she nodded finally. "Honestly, I know." I folded the letter slowly, gently, because Grandpa's words deserved care. "I'm not coming back," I said softly. She pressed her lips together. "Your father already knows. He said you made your choice." "He made his first," I corrected. "Both of you did." She nodded, defeated. Is there anything we can do? No, I said, not cruelly, just truthfully. You can't fix a decade of pushing me aside with one envelope. Tears slid down her cheeks. I didn't move to wipe them. Not out of anger, out of necessity. She needed to feel this. She needed to sit in the consequences of choices she thought would never circle back. Finally, she whispered, "I'm proud of you." It was the first time I'd ever heard those words, but instead of filling a hollow space in my chest, they just drifted across the surface. Too late, too light, too small for the size of the wound. "Thank you," I said quietly. "Thank you. Thank you for a safe house. Thank you. But I don't need your pride anymore." Mom flinched like the words were a blade. She reached out, but I stepped back. "Goodbye, Mom." She nodded once, turned, and walked to her car with shoulders folded inward, the way people walk when reality finally cements in their bones. When she drove off, silence settled again over the lot. Lucas looked at me. "You okay?" I held the key, the letter, the photograph. "God," I said, my past in my left hand, my future in my right. "Yeah," I said slowly, for the first time in my life. "Yeah." "What are you going to do with that land?" I smiled, but it wasn't a sweet smile. It wasn't a gentle smile. It was a builder's smile, the smile of someone who had been denied, overlooked, underestimated, and was done asking for permission. "I'm going to expand," I said, "not just a shop, a full operation, a yard, a warehouse, a fleet." Lucas grinned. "An empire, exactly." I looked over the lot, the beginning of my freedom. They took my shop. I looked at the key, my next foundation. "So I'll build a kingdom." The wind picked up, brushing my hair like a quiet confirmation, and just like that, the story that started with betrayal didn't end with revenge. It ended with a woman standing on her own land, holding her own future, finally unclaimed by anyone but herself.